Welcome back, my friends, to another episode of TFT Hyper Roll from Mission for Tuition. You know the deal. It's Mission for Tuition. We're trying to raise money for our son's middle and high school tuition. He has to go to a ridiculously expensive special school. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the stuff to help the algorithm, because that's the only way this channel makes money, not through donations or anything like that. It's just about the views. Before I get into this build, I want to talk to you about Wednesday's video coming up. It's going to be a little different. It's going to be a video that I hope will help people. Slightly different format. Please check it out. It's really for people who are struggling to get up to Hyper before the end of the season in mid-February. For this build, I've talked a bunch of times about how strong Yordles are, and the fact that in pretty much every Hyper Roll game, 2 to 3 people go for it. Well, Riot buffed it. There's your Yordle buff. Let me explain what it is. They increase the odds of getting the lower cost Yordles early, and that means you're going to be able to get them up to 3 stars much quicker. And they also increase the mana reduction for when you have 6 Yordles. So with that in mind, when I saw Golden Ticket as one of the augments, I pretty much decided, you know what? I'm gonna test and see how bad this buff is to Hyper Roll. Now, normally I will only attempt to do Yordles if I've gotten a 3-cost Yordle out of the NPC round, because that's really going to be the key to your build. But I decided I was going to force this, which is why you see the Hex Tech on Ziggs, because I know I'm going to be weak earlier because I didn't get a 3-cost Yordle. But didn't seem to matter here. Now, one of the problems with Yordles is that it's pretty weak early unless you start off with a 3-cost out of the NPC round. That, combined with the additional competition you usually face, makes it really difficult to build and get ahead. You're likely to fall behind early. I'm lucky enough to roll and find a Vex so that I can put her in sooner rather than later. With the increased odds of rolling 1 cost and Golden Ticket on my side, I'm pretty hopeful I'm going to be able to get a Gold Ziggs early, so I've decided to edge towards making Ziggs a little bit more of the carry, which is a role I would usually reserve for Heimer. But even with a single 3-cost in there and the Arcanist buff, that is not going to help an early Yordle team, who is very likely to just get overrun. They're just not that strong until they get up to 3 stars. But with the buff, we're hoping to get there sooner rather than later. So this may seem a bit crazy, but I decided at this moment I'd really like to have the additional Yordle. So I pick up the Sniper just because it's going to give me the extra Tristana. Now here, I'm debating getting the Scrap, since Ziggs is a Scrap, but since I just picked up a Sniper emblem, and Tristana is a Sniper, I might as well grab that. I give it to Ziggs because Ziggs is going to hang out in the back, and as I said before, Ziggs is looking to be my carry, and I now have my 2-1 costs both up to gold. And now that I have 2 golds on my team, or 3 stars, whatever you want to call them, everything's going to become that much easier. Ziggs is going to do a lot more damage, especially with that Sniper emblem, and those casts are just going to wipe things out very quickly, allowing me to start winning. Now, with Ziggs already set as my main AP damage, it's time to set up my AD damage. One of the things I like about Yordles, and that makes it easy to play, is that there's 2 points of damage built into it. Tristana, who's now luckily an additional Sniper, becomes the additional AD. I decide to go with a Titan's Resolve to just make her more powerful as she goes, and give her a Bloodthirster so she can heal, and of course a Rage Blade so she could speed up her attacks. Couple of things to mention here. I had been scanning and there are a lot of blitzes I'm against, so I have Lulu in the corner as blitz bait. I also put the other Sniper emblem onto Heimer because they have increased Heimer's range, so the Sniper will increase it even more, and hopefully once Heimer grows up and becomes a 2-star and ultimately a 3-star, that will make Heimer super powerful. With my 1s complete and my Lulu almost complete and a second Silver Tristana on the bench, I'm feeling really good about the potential endgame. It's still going to be a little rough along the way because the units really aren't that strong until they grow up. For my final augment, I was a little bit torn between whether I wanted the burst healing from Thrill of the Hunt or the more consistent healing from Celestial Blessing. I ultimately decide on Celestial Blessing, and then I'm lucky enough to get a Jhin who I can put in as my 4th sniper as I continue to look for all of my gold Yordles and potentially find myself a Yordle Lord. With my snipers now up at 4, my damage is getting increased, well, pretty exponentially. You can see that even though they got my Jhin really quickly, my other 3 snipers stay in and just eradicate their team. And we're going to keep speeding up these fights because we do have a viewer whose name is No More Yordles Please, and I don't think they're going to be happy seeing this. But this is kind of why Yordles are so contested so often. They're just nonsensically strong. Now, this was a difficult item call because I love me some Morellonomicon on Yuumi. Having her burn an entire team that she also stuns is just really OP, but with the number of blitzes we've been facing, I wanted to pick up the Banshee's Claw so I could keep everyone safe. It allows me to put Ziggs in the corner, which could potentially give that sniper's emblem just a little bit more power. Now what we're facing right here is the biggest weakness of the Yordle team, and that is a Lux, who can fire across the entire board and weaken your backline to basically the ability of anything to take it down. You really want to hope to keep everyone strong and keep your front line in place, but sometimes it just doesn't work out like that, and Tristana tries really, really hard, but it's not enough to overcome them. And even though we're coming in on a loss, we are into the top 4. And I'm going to straighten this whole mess out in a moment because I will find an additional champ to fix it. Now this is pretty much the most critical fight in the game. We're down to our last life and we're against someone who has only lost 1 match, and that was very early on. They're running a really strong team of assassins with Syndicate, which is a very powerful combination, but luckily I had 3-starred the Vex just before the fight, and Vex makes an incredible tank, as you can see, able to hold back Shaco and finish them off. Now with all of my Yordles at 3-star, it's time to make Heimer a little bit stronger with that Spear of Sojin, so Heimer can cast more often. Also, the Sunfire Cape that I got off the NPC is going to go right onto Vex, so that Vex can do a little anti-healing along the way. And now you get to see the nonsense in all its glory. I brought in a Braum just to add a little bit of extra armor to Poppy and of course to Braum. I have a 2-star Yuumi, which is going to hold things in place, but overall, once you have the entire team of 3-star Yordles, everything just sort of falls before you. And then of course, once they are all gold, you get the fun of summoning veigar. And since it is now us against that sniper team, I bring back my 2 other Yordle frontliners to protect against getting jumped in the backline. Syndicate Assassins, which this is one of my favorite builds. However, it does often get thwarted by Yordles because they have trouble cutting through them in enough time before the Yordles ultimately take over. With the additional sniper buffs here, you can see it's pretty deadly. Now I'm about to do about the stupidest thing possible. I have their number. They're not getting through this. But I haven't had a chance to really put veigar in all season. So with the game on the line, I take out my 2-star Braum bodyguard and toss a veigar in the backline against Syndicate Assassins. Yeah, even as I'm saying it, it doesn't sound like a smart thing to do. But here's the thing. Yordles are just ridiculously strong, and even though veigar goes down really quickly, and yes, that's how I pronounce it, the rest of the team makes up for it. And it doesn't matter, because with those snipers and this team being this strong, they still win. Yeah, I understand why someone who watches us hates Yordle so much. It was GG to everyone, and yeah, if you get the chance, play it. It's even stronger. Hope you enjoyed the video and have an absolutely awesome day.